Hello, my name is Guy Wallace, and I'd like to orient you to the flexibility of the PACT processes for training and development, learning, and knowledge management. Flexibility in the PACT processes will be demonstrated by providing you with 6 short case studies from my past project files. My goal is for you to better understand how you might flex the PACT processes to meet the varied needs of your situation. I am the author of the PACT processes for training and development, learning, and knowledge management. I started developing them for myself and my consulting firm's ISD staff to use in our consulting engagements, where my preference was always to quote fixed fee for these efforts based on a detailed, phase-by-phase project plan. And for that I needed a common ISD process. Or, more accurately, I needed 3 ISD processes. Curriculum architecture design, a systems engineering and architectural level of ISD for conducting performance-based training needs analyses to design comprehensive curricula for one or more target audiences. Modular curriculum development and acquisition, the ADDIE level of the PACT processes, using a platform design approach for the design and development of one or several instructional products. IAD, Instructional Activity Development and Acquisition, the PACT process intended to deal with non-traditional instructional products, such as those products from knowledge management efforts. My experience includes over 70 CAD projects since 1982 and over 50 MCD or IAD efforts. For more background on the PACT processes themselves, please review the first 4 podcasts in this series. The 6 case studies cover a wide range of client needs and an 18-year time span, from 1982 to the year 2000. Of course, I've done more PACT projects since then. These are just some of the more interesting or unusual projects out of the 125. The case studies include, number 1, the client need was to recover the knowledge of the master performers before they retire en masse. It was 1982. Our second case study, the client's need, get ready for post-deregulation of the telephone business in the United States and build a customer-driven versus Bell Labs-driven product management organization. It was 1986. Case study number 3, the client need, develop a flexible instructional curriculum to facilitate a multi-million-dollar technology transfer of a new drug development technique, combinatorial chemistry, to a foreign firm. It was 1994. Case study number 4, the client need, to quickly conduct a company-wide curriculum architecture design for a company-wide re-engineering effort to forecast the training and development dollars required for the budget. It was 1993. The 5th case study, the client need was to develop a large number of qualification and certification tests for a large number of technical populations in 19 different positions to both prove to the regulators that they were on top of the identification of the most critical job tasks related to the oil field operations and the current staff capabilities regarding those critical tasks, as well as support a pay progression program intended to pay for capability to perform. It was 1987. Case study number 6. The client need? We needed to re-engineer 7 very different sets of curricula for 7 regions and increase the performance impact of the instruction and increase the sharing of content wherever possible to reduce both first and lifecycle costs. The year 2000. Case study number 1. The client need was to recover the knowledge of the master performers before they retired en masse. It was 1982. Exxon USA exploration. The critical business issue, a projected drastic drop in the average years of experience of their senior geologists and geophysicists. It was going to drop from over 20 years to about 5. The increased risks, then, of drilling where there ain't no oil were significant. And as only 1 in 9 oil wells currently played out, if they would drop to somewhere along 1 in 11, or worse, it would have a drastic impact on the exploration unit and the parent company. The scope of the performance was end-to-end. They found oil for the production unit to then go get it. The PACT outputs, performance models, and knowledge and skill matrices were then used in the design of a totally structured on-the-job training curriculum of 197 modules. The curriculum architecture design was very well received by the geologists and geophysicists in the target audience. Case study number 2. The client need: get ready for post-deregulation of the telephone business in the United States and build a customer-driven versus Bell Labs-driven product development organization. It was 1986, and the client, AT&T Network Systems. The critical business issue: McKinsey had assessed the entire marketing, product planning, product management, portfolio management, new product development efforts in the company were inadequate to the future needs. In a post-divestiture world, AT&T would no longer be a monopoly and would no longer be the seller of choice to what used to be referred to as the baby bells. The target audience: product managers. The scope of their performance: from concept to grave, including business planning, new product development, life cycle management of the introduction, growth, maturity, decline, and discontinuance of over 500,000 products. The PACT outputs: a 120 event curriculum architecture design. Really a menu of modular training and development and some larger traditional training courses. The results of the project: the effort was awarded an NSPI award finalist in 1990, mostly due to the 475% return on investment calculated by the client. Case study number 3. The client need: develop a flexible instructional curriculum to facilitate a multi-million-dollar technology transfer of a new drug technique, combinatorial chemistry, to a foreign firm. The year: 1994. Sphinx Pharmaceuticals, a subsidiary of Eli Lilly, was the client. They were in a big hurry as they had several prospects for this technology transfer, and they wanted to at least show the design of the instruction to help them make the sale, as well as guide the building of the instruction. The target audience: highly degreed chemists, PhDs for the most part. The scope of the performance: a new combinatorial chemistry process used to develop new drug compounds. The PACT outputs: the results of a 2-day meeting, performance models enabling knowledge and skill matrices, and a modular design of lessons was produced by facilitating a team from 3 different locations who first had to come to agreement on what the performance was, as they were all practicing this new technique differently. The results of the project: over 30 days of T&D were successfully designed and then developed on time for the first technology transfer sale. Case study 4. The client need: to quickly conduct a company-wide curriculum architecture design for a company-wide re-engineering effort and to forecast the training and development budget required. It was 1993. The client: Spartan Stores, a grocery chain in the Michigan area. The critical business issue: the company was in the throes of a BPR, business process re-engineering effort, when the CFO determined that the business case ROI calculations were sans T&D. In other words, nobody had calculated the cost for developing training to support all of the brand new processes and new jobs that were going to be a result of this business process re-engineering effort. What was going to happen to the return on investment once that was factored in? The CFO needed to know. The target audience: every job and job family across the entire organization, over 100 job titles. The scope of the performance: all headquarters operations plus distribution up to the stores' back doors. The PACT outputs: performance models and knowledge and skill matrices on over 19 different job families as they were clustered together, produced a curriculum architecture design that identified and sized the gaps, allowing the resources to be estimated. The results of the project: the CFO got exactly what he wanted: a picture of the training and development gaps and their projected costs. Case study number 5. The client need develop a large number of qualification and certification tests for a large number of technicians to both prove to the regulators that they were on top of the identification of the most critical job tasks related to oil field operations, and they were on top of the current staff capabilities regarding those tasks. They also wanted to support a pay progression program intended to pay for the capability to perform. It was 1987. The client, Arco of Alaska. The critical business issue: identify all critical job task performance and then conduct an inventory against that listing by using performance tests. The target audiences: 19 different technical job populations. The scope of the performance: all technical work at one half of Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. The other half of the oil field was operated by another oil firm. The PACT outputs: performance models and knowledge and skill matrices led to the design and then development of over 2,000 qualification and certification performance tests. Not one written knowledge test was included except those mandated by state regulatory agencies. The result of the project: the successful development of 19 communities of practice who then took ownership of the 2,000 plus qualification and certification performance tests, as well as took over change management responsibilities for the performance models and the knowledge and skill matrices. Case study number 6. The client need to re-engineer 7 very different sets of curricula for 7 regions and increase the performance impact of the instruction while increasing the sharing of content wherever possible to reduce first and life cycle costs. It was 2000. The client, Verizon. The critical business issue: well, besides huge turnover in the call center populations, it was the cost to maintain 7 sets of curricula that was really the driver. The target audience: sales staff in an inbound call center. The scope of performance: selling everything in the region. The 50 United States were divided into 7 regions. The PACT outputs: performance models and knowledge and skill matrices and assessment of existing training led to a curriculum architecture design. Immediately out of the curriculum architecture design phase, phase 3, we dropped into phase 3 of the MCD process and designed the events and lessons and instructional activities for over 2,000 instructional activities. That led to handoff to an e-learning firm for the development and deployment of the content. The results of the project: very successful acceptance by the management. 7 former curricula with no sharing became 7 sets of curricula with a 75% overlap in each. Only 25% of the content was necessarily unique, mostly driven by state-by-state regulatory issues and the product offering differences region to region across the company. My intent was to demonstrate the flexibility in the PACT processes. ISD is not conducted just one way within the PACT processes for training and development, learning, and knowledge management. If you'd like to contact me, you may reach me through my website at www.eppic.biz. That's epic with 2 P's, .biz. I hope that you found this informational. Thank you, and have a good day.